Jack Dandy here. Welcome to my Heavy Gear Blitz mechanics tutorial. I'll use this video to introduce some basic mechanics from the game. First off, let's start from the basic rolling mechanic. This game uses two main roles, independent rolls and opposed rolls. The former is used for various challenges, and the latter is used for combat. Both use a d6 pool that always starts from 2d6, as do most rolls in the game. This pool can be made bigger or smaller, depending on the modifiers, but we'll talk about these a bit later. Now, let's talk about independent rolls. These usually have some sort of threshold number, usually equal to one of the model's skills. We'll roll our 2d6 and inspect the highest score. This will be our result die. If our result die reaches the threshold, we would succeed at that roll. Here's an example. We want to make an independent piloting roll for the Jaeger. His piloting skill is 4+, and thus so is the threshold that we need to be. Let's see. If he would have rolled a 1 and a 3, our result would be a 3, and thus we would not reach that 4 and we would have failed that roll. However, if we rolled a 4 and 5, our result would be a 5, and that means we would have succeeded in that roll. Let's check out some other examples. 2 and a 4, highest one is 4, and that's a success. 6 and a 2, highest is 6, and thus another success. Now for where the real action starts, the opposed rolls. That's the main type of roll you'll see in the game, as that's what we use for attacks and defense. Let's say the Grey Jaeger attacks the Yellow Hunter. We'll assume no modifiers are involved in this example. Both sides will start by rolling 2d6, and then each will take the highest die as the result. Following that, for every other die that reaches the appropriate skill threshold, they'll add an additional +1 to that result. The gunnery skill is used for attacks, and the piloting skill is used for defense. These skill ratings are both 4+ for both the Jaeger and the Hunter. If the attack has a margin of at least 0 against the defense, then the attack hits. We'll go over how damage is calculated soon. Now, let's try it out. Let's say this guy is attacking this guy, yeah? Rolling. Okay, in this case, the highest score here is 5, and the highest score here is also 5. That means it would hit with a margin of 0, since 5 minus 5 is 0. Let's give it 2 extra tries. This time I got a 5, and this guy got a 6 as a result die, and the other die passed his threshold of 4+, which turned his total into a 7. So, 5 against 7 means we missed that attack. And one last try. This time I got a 4, and again, 7 here. Another miss. Now, let's go over how we calculate damage. Remember that we always looked at the margins of success for our attacks? Now you'll figure out why. When an attack hits, you first take out your margin, then you add your weapon's damage to it, and finally decrease the target's armor from the result. This final result will be the amount of damage that the target took. For example, the Grey Jaeger has a light rocket pack with a damage of 7. He uses it to attack the Yellow Hunter, who has an armor value of 6. Let's try some attacks and inspect the results. Again, we'll assume no modifiers are used for this. Let's go. Attacks are coming from this guy and this guy. Alright. This attack is a miss. And I think this one would be a hit, since my result here is 5, and his result is 1. The margin here would be 4. So we would take this 4, we would add it to our weapon's damage, which is 7. 4 plus 7 would be 11. And then, from that result, we would subtract this target's armor rating, which is 6. So, 11 minus 6 would be 5 total damage. Almost took him out completely. Remember that every attack that gets a margin of success of 0 and above means it hit. Now, let's talk about modifiers. As I mentioned before, there are numerous modifiers that can add to or remove from our dice pool. The minimum pool size is always 1d6, but there is no maximum die cap. Stacking up these modifiers is the key to victory in this game. Here are some modifier examples. The attack die pool can get an extra die if you attack from the target's back arc. It can also get -1 die if you attack from an unoptimal range from your weapon. For example, over 18 inches away with this gear's rocket pack. The defense die pool can get an extra die if you have some cover. It can also get -1 die if a model is crippled from having taken too much damage. There are a bunch of other modifiers in the game. Take a look in the game's manual to learn about them. And now I'll go over how movement works in the game. Each model has a movement rating, or MR. When a model is activated, you may choose between 3 movement modes. The first one is combat speed. Move up to your MR in inches. You may change your facing, movement directions, and do actions freely during any point of this movement. This is the default mode. The second mode is top speed. Move up to your MR times 2. You may change your facing, movement directions, and do actions freely during any point of this movement. In addition, you gain +1 die to your defense rolls and -1 die to your attack rolls. This lasts until the end of this model's activation. This can help when you want to get somewhere quickly, or when you want to tempt enemies into wasting their reactions on a hard-to-hit target. The third and final mode is braced. The model doesn't move at all, but may still change its facing and do actions. In addition, you gain +1 die to your attack rolls and -1 die to your defense rolls. Note that unlike top speed's modifiers, these will last until the start of the next round. A player should announce if he uses braced or top speed at the beginning of a model's activation. If he doesn't, then it will be assumed that he's using the regular combat speed. Here are some movement examples. The Jaeger here has a movement rating of 6. Now let's assume I use the combat speed. So, since I can move up to 6 inches from my position, I would be able to move up to 4 inches, turn, attack this hunter here, and then use my remaining 2 inches to get behind cover. Alternatively, I could choose top speed. In this case, I would be able to move up to 12 inches, since it's 6 times 2, and do something like this. 2 inches here, then another 10 inches up here. Turn around a little, and then attack the same model. And that's about it. The full game offers more interesting mechanics such as reactions, spotting, indirect attacks, commanders, ace pilots, combined arms, a dynamic force building and objective system, and more. The game rules are available for free at DriveThruRPG, and you can look them up if you're interested. Link is in the description below. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the battlefield.